day special. Many of you were here from day one. And so much you did for me. You kept me going through the tough times. So many of you after my cancer, which is truly about equally hard, if not harder, trying to climb back into life. So many were there for me to start that all over again. But before I go too far, I just want to say a few words. I do want to start with prayer. It was such a huge part of my life. In particular, prayer. I said often brought me the hope I needed. And I know it by heart, but I'm not grabbing here because my mind just berserk right now. Lord, make me an inch of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that we not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Anyway, so I was trying to think here just what I wanted to say today. 25 years is huge. Quarter century is huge. I just love that fact. But I think what's even more cool, and I shared this with some of you guys, is I was 22 years old when I was diagnosed. So 25 years, this is now 23 years since having my cancer. I'm healthy. 25 years is more than 22 years before I even had it. So, I don't know, for me that's something cool. I love that. What I wanted to say, I struggle with it. I got a dear couple of loved ones here. A very respected friend who's been struggling with it here for over 2 years. Many of you know Uncle Dave. Our heart goes out to him. I can only fear what's involved because it's scary road. But today is 25 years and it's a celebration. And I want you guys to celebrate with me. So like I said, it is you that brought me here. A couple things to capitalize on is one, cancer sucks. There's no way around it. I don't think anyone would disagree. But the second biggest thing is life is beautiful. That you never, ever take care of the simplest little things for granted. And it just happens. Life goes on. It's busy. Bad things happen. I get it. Stress, inevitable. But life is beautiful. Looking at my cancer, I would never, ever want to go through it again, nor would I wish it upon my worst enemies. I mean, talk about living now. When it comes to it, cancer is one of the best things ever to happen to me. What? It is. I was shot afterward. I mean, couldn't walk, killer headache, still cancer-free, throwing up every day, depressed. But after living in the gutter for some years, slowly climbing out, you realize how much you took for granted all your life. And how much the good things mean to you. Looking at you guys, it just makes you smile. And I apologize, I didn't realize how emotional I could do this, but this is an amazing day. There's some things I'm going to share with you guys, but there's some other ones around here. We don't necessarily need to go into all the depth of that. But when you have things stolen away from you, and it takes you 5, 10, 15 years to see it again. Amazing. I got so many dear ones that have brought me through it. Mentioned all this earlier, but a couple things I want to point out is I got married, first of all. Yeah, can anybody hear me? Yeah, sorry for so I got married and adopted a child. Was able to have one on his bus. To have my dear Lord Joseph. I think he's probably out in the truck playing Nintendo right now. Anyway, that is eating ice cream. Right, Joseph. Yeah. A little bit about my story. I don't want to go into all my length, but it's a lot of it I don't even know about, to be honest with you. The results are such a blur. This is a really abbreviated version, by the way. End of April 1997, I started having these headaches that, in all honesty, I don't even remember happening. They're just a little nuisance or whatever. Didn't even take any pill or anything, but then in March of 97, these little headaches started becoming more frequent, pain and frequency. But no big deal still. Everybody has headaches, right? Especially at age 22, no big deal. But as March progressed into April, it started catching my attention. The headaches were constant and getting more and more painful. Nausea, vomiting came into it. Eventually, I had double vision and ataxic gait, they call it. If you've never heard of it, it's basically you can't keep balance, just staggering. I went to 3 different doctors, had 3 different misdiagnoses. Came to a point, April 27th, a Sunday. I woke up in pain again, intense pain. I spent my day split between throwing up and passing out over the day, and fortunately, I was in a house that time off of campus, and a couple of my roommates were here to help me out. And they took me into the St. Cloud ER at that time. I don't remember much of that day at all. But I still remember the words. I was laying, I think, that in the ER room or something. And a nurse, I think, came to me and she says, John, I think, she says that we found what was been bothering you, giving you headaches all this time. We found growth in your posterior cerebellum. Next day after that, had an emergency surgery, which was aborted because of serious complications. The next day after that, we had another emergency surgery to remove the tumor. This one much more successful, removing a tumor size of a lemon from the back. It was some 10 days in ICU there in the hospital, and then was finally released. We went down to Mayo Clinic in Rochester then for the rest of my treatment. There, they found still more tumor growing in my brain, and was the very next day was able to meet with a neurosurgeon, and he was painfully blunt, but he was honest with me. He says, "John, you have one of the fastest growing tumors known to modern medicine growing on your brain." He said, "If you want to see your next birthday, it requires removing a full tumor before we start any post-treatment." And then after that, he asked me to sign off on a piece of paper saying, "Is that okay?" But it was an eye-opener. And I don't remember much of anything from my first two surgeries, so when it came to that point, it was like, I was scared. And I mean, I was still having pain from my previous two surgeries. And on the way home, but the very next day then, I went to good old St. Wenceslaus here. And I literally dropped to my knees. God, I don't want to die. I need your help. In the next 8 months, I had 7 more surgeries. Chemotherapy that would have killed a person my current age. Radiation equivalent to an atomic bomb going off of my head 30 days in a row. With that bacterial meningitis 4 different times to try and get me. I lost the ability to walk, stand for that matter. I was wetting myself regularly. I couldn't add 2 plus 3. I didn't know my dear uncle's name. Gary. I had headaches that required some kind of painkiller for over 410 consecutive days. And I threw up for over 210 days in a row, 1 to 12 times a day. I don't know how, but it was, I made it through. It came to January then when we had my final checkup. Thank God I'm cancer-free. Well, my oncologist tells me it could be 2 to 3 years before I'm back on my feet. And that was hard for me to accept. Because I always thought, this really sucks, but it will get better. That was the way I would get through. But anyway, so that next week I started rehab. That fall, went back to St. John's to finish my senior year of college. And the following May, graduated, so that was pretty awesome. And at that point, I took a year off. I was a little bit tired. So in that time, I did a lot of fun stuff. That one of the things I did was write, I got a copy here, I think. I guess I want. But I wrote, what I called my fact book, I got some examples there, but it's only 300 pages of just everything that happened from day one symptoms on to when I graduated from college. So I'm pretty proud of it, actually. It was a big thing for me, my recovering and getting healthy again. But when I was doing my fact finding for that and trying to figure out all that happened, because I didn't really know half of that year that went on, I came across, I remembered that the day I knelt down for prayer before my third surgery, I came home to the house and there was about 6 of my dearest cousins there to show their love and support for me. And with that, my dear close friend Barb and husband Tom, they gave me a gift. And it's just amazing. And I sat down and looked at it again. It's a poem, a plaque. You probably will recognize, because it's a common one. I always loved it. One night, a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. As the sky flashed scenes from his life, for each scene he noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to him, and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before his eyes, he noticed that there were times along, forgive me here, my eyes aren't real good. He looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed this happened at the very lowest and saddest times of his life. This really bothered him. And he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, he said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand. Why, Lord? When I need you the most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious child, I love you, and I would never leave you. During them times of trial and suffering, when you are only one there in my footprint, when there's only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I carried you. And that kind of gave an insight as to how that question I always had. How did I find the strength? How could I get that done? Because there are some times, well, there's so many. I think about it where life was pretty good. Even when my cancer first started, the first 3 surgeries all went so good for me. I went fishing out to Lake Erie, the benefit that so many guys did for me. How awesome that was. Kicked me off in a great high spirits, because it was certainly after, it was September when life just started crashing on me. Partly the benefit wasn't end of August. But anyway, shortly after the benefit, I had my 3rd round of chemotherapy. And I didn't have a whole lot of energy going into it. And it was after that point where I was just shot. I mean, I had trouble keeping myself outstanding. And I started my throwing up spree at that point. But as my 5 days got done, after those 5 consecutive days, And after that, I took a little time out of the city to rest. We had 2 weeks off, then had to go again for the next round of chemo. Unfortunately, in that time, bacterial meningitis came back for the 3rd time at that point. And that ended up being 3 weeks stay at the hospital. Just everything went wrong at that time. So it went from Jesus walking beside me in the sand to my chemotherapy, where he really grasped underneath me, kind of holding me up while still on my feet. With that meningitis. That's when the worst started coming. And God definitely was carrying me then. After that, I had antibiotics going on at home for another 3 weeks. Once that was complete for a couple weeks, it was meningitis came back a 4th time. And then it did all that got me. I don't remember much of the month, but I do remember it came to a point that the doctors of England didn't know what to do. Options were, 1, have surgery, which they're pretty sure I wasn't able to do. Second option was keep up with the antibiotics they're giving me, which weren't doing anything anymore. Or the third option, like that bacteria got me. And at that point, my dear mother pretty much lost it. And while we were present, she bombarded, she called all with your friends, family. 8 o'clock tomorrow, we bombard heaven with prayer. God's got to hear us. And the bombardment it did. And so it went from 2.5 weeks with bacteria surrounding my brain, engulfing my brain, nearly killing me, to the very next morning, gone. No bacteria at all. God, you not only carried me on that one, you were giving me mouth to mouth. I was doing. But anyway, so that was awesome. And then that one proceeded forward then to my final checkups. Life thereafter, getting back to college, which was all just amazing. It was awesome. And although I was in rough shape, I just learned how precious life is and how much all you guys mean to me. So thank you for being here today. One thing I would say with all this is don't let that happen to you. That is, well, you can't do anything about cancer, of course, but don't let the loved ones, don't take them for granted, don't take life for granted, don't take for the littlest, stupidest things for granted. Because you never know, tomorrow it might be gone. Maybe whether you go home tonight, your house is fried, down to the ground, burnt. A dear loved one comes down with terminal cancer. Life is short. Life is beautiful. And you gotta enjoy every minute. I mean, we all come to crossroads in life. There's all stress. Things that want to take you down. But you gotta make a decision. Do the glass half full, or is it half empty? Always, always, always choose to see life. Give your family and loved ones a hug, kiss. When I went to college, I was going to be a major and an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business and make all this money. Be rich, because that what makes you happy, right? Have the money to go down to Vegas and party. I went other than the stupid youth once in a while anyway. Go for a cruise in the Caribbean, you know. But I realized after my cancer, I don't need to spend thousands of dollars on this artificial fun. What makes me happy is in my own house. I mean, life is so beautiful. But you gotta take the time to slow down and see it. Otherwise it's so hard to see the negatives. So easy, I should say, I'm sorry, to see the negatives. I think everybody probably noticed a theme of faith in my recovery. And it's so clear that God was always there beside me. But you know, I noticed after time and just life moving on. It took me some years to get back on my feet. And with that, life passes you by, it does. I mean, don't fall to it. You know, I have good friends, and most of them either moved or got married, started their own families, started their own life. And that's when I was just kind of discovering my own life, all my insecurities, my disabilities, whatever. And it's amazing. That's where so many of the other guys here who were not with me through my battle helped bring me on my feet and bring me back into life. And that's when life really became fun. So I thank all you guys so much. But one thing too I noticed with my recovery, my couple of years, when I started getting back into life, is I noticed, hope you agree, but this world has made a turn, I feel, for the worse in a lot of sense. It seems a lot of people start now just making decisions to what's best for them. You know, not so much keeping track of those next to your family or friends, what they're up to, whatever, but that, and probably not most of you guys, you're pretty cool, I like you. But life has turned to, I feel, a more selfish stage, and it's like people are making decisions like there is no God, there is no devil. And if you've been influenced now by this version of life, let me assure you, there is a God, there is a devil. I've met them both, okay? Love life, enjoy it. I passed I think it's on various tables there. I don't know, I didn't do the decorating here, so I'm sorry about that. But something I came across, I don't know, at some point in life here, but it's so true in my life. It's turned. I am so blessed. Because my life was flipped upside down. And I thank God for that. I asked for strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn to humbly obey. I asked for health that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that I might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing I asked for, but everything that I hope for. Almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered. I am, among all people, most richly blessed. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. A couple things, notes. Today is National Day for Ice Cream. So if you haven't grabbed your ice cream yet, go grab some. We got little sundaes and make your own stuff. Very important to me. We have a table here, if anybody could or wanted to. We're creating cards that we're going to give to a hospital for those going through cancer. I experienced firsthand just that I always called it cancer face. People who didn't quite know what to say. They were scared to talk to me, so they kind of turned their eyes. And I can't tell you how important it is to have that love and support. Love and support that you guys gave me. But anyway, if you can give that to us a little note, whatever, make a note or a picture or scribbles, whatever. But, let people know that you're thinking of them. That's all it takes to give you that extra stuff. We got a little display area of my stuff over there. Some pictures. I got a couple copies of my fact book over there, some newspapers that my story was in. My t-shirts from the Young Cancer Benefit. Thank you guys for being there, who were there, who I even knew at that time. Half of you were probably weren't even born. But if you want to play a Rubik's Cube, we got that here too. Something I wanted to share earlier that is one of my favorites. I never thought much about Pat Rock when I was younger, but a good friend of mine gave me this one, and I love it. It's a phrase that I think we probably all have heard, but it says, "What if you woke up today with only what you thank God for yesterday?" And it's so true, because that's basically was me back when. I'll be honest with you, when I was diagnosed, I wasn't real deep in my faith. But it was shortly after that point when my brain just started going lemons on it. And suddenly, faith became really important. I have to ask, only because I love you guys. I'm not trying to be a preacher here or something, but where's your faith? Think about it. It's something that's so critical. Be that person for your children. Come on, do it. I like to get up an hour every day, early, when the house is quiet. That's my quiet time. I do some prayers, or just planning my day out. With the Lord. They're just, what do you think of? And again, that's probably part of my happiness. It's just coming to realize more just all the beauty we have around us. But take that time, whatever it is, ideally every day. I would start now, because it is important. Hopefully none of you have lemons growing on your brain. But there's tragedies in life. We all have them. But I think I probably bored you guys enough. FYI, for those of you who can, at 4 o'clock, we're having a rosary here for a dear friend with cancer, my friend Jen, who's here, who's been struggling with cancer for over 2 years. Certainly lift up Uncle Dave. He is all people. I know where he's at right now. We need to pray for him. And I think we all know somebody who has had cancer before, hopefully with us, but many have passed on. We have many of our loved ones we're going to pray for, but you're all welcome to stay, otherwise it's an open house. Take off for everyone. You guys are awesome. I cannot ask for anything more than friends and family like you. So thank you.